What to do, bye? So listen, right? I'm gonna try to make this one quick, actually. We had a crazy day yesterday. Um, I didn't I didn't watch it live today, but I've seen kind of what happened, so I'm gonna do a replay, but just to get the smaller entries. Um, I want to look at Thursday. Yeah, so that happened yesterday because of the news. That was diabolical. And I was like, I was doing pretty good actually yesterday. I had a couple wins. I think I was net positive. Then I got up there and I tried to take a couple of scalps and they both failed. And with that, my white monster exploded. This is like an Irish stout, like Guinness. And what kept happening yesterday was um the fucking I would take a trade and I've done this before and I cleared out all my drawings, but I just noticed that I had written down like three times on trades that I lost. That was like it only went up to like a volume point and then turned like a few points short of my target. So if you see a volume ledge right in front of your shit, just take it there, especially if you're it might go back, but I was getting stopped out. Um so like let's just complete example made up. Let's see you see this volume ledge right here. Very sharp drop off. And it actually bounces right off there. Would you look at that? Let's say you're short in here and you're shorting. Let's say your target is like a high volume down here. Just take it when you're right here. Just take it right here. Because that's what I was doing. I would have a target even a little bit further. Obviously, the scale is different because it's intraday, but it would bounce at the ledge and then. So don't discount that volume profile. That shit is beautiful. Okay. So let's go to this morning. Oh, that's today. Oops, I guess let's go to this morning. So yeah, obviously we see what happens there. But let's take a look at if there were any decent entries today. Uh, let's draw this thing in here. I don't think we get down there, but I'm just gonna draw that in. Those are our big fat zones for today. Okay. Then we're just gonna keep going down, going down. So I honestly don't know what bias to have right now. I think if I was looking at this and just seeing this huge fat gap from news, we could probably expect to fill some of that. So maybe we'll draw something here because we think we might not go all the way down. Let's just pop down a little minute. Yeah. And let's start running this bitch. Why? I just found out Brian Johnson from AC/DC was in like a glam metal band in the 70s and is pretty sick. So obviously in a big downtrend right now, recovering some of that stuff. I do want to see what yesterday looked like from a um, volume profile perspective. So I wouldn't be surprised if we touch this situation. And look at that too. The volume, I'll never cease to be amazed at how this lines up. Obviously, like that's the whole point, is like it's a volume histogram. So of course it's gonna line up. But just drawing it in and seeing the profile line up is always interesting. Um, but it kind of lines up with this 30-minute demand zone we drew. It does line up. This is where we bounced super high from yesterday's point of control. We're already coming down into, I should probably stop this. We're already coming down and touching value area high. Like I said, we're probably going to retest that. Um, yeah, very interesting. And obviously, like, just look, because we zoomed up on news like that, um, just crazy thin here. So maybe if there's a bunch of stops along the way down, I don't know why you would put a stop in here, but just for whatever reason, price might move here quickly. If it doesn't, maybe it'll take like a bunch of momentum, build up a bunch of orders, and then try to recover that. I don't know. Well, let's just see what happens. And let's see if we're already at 10. Do we have any kind of entries? I'm trying to get this edge down. So I'm gonna be, if we take any entries, I'm gonna be like taking notes on the screen. Um, because I realize I don't have like a perfect. I mean, nothing's perfect, right? But I don't have like a system. I don't have like a set of rules. Okay, so you come down to the um, you break out of the value area low. It You get this wick off the value area low. You get a little bit of a bounce. People might be thinking you're going to go higher there, but we consolidate. So now you're kind of just like messing around with um, you know, just consolidating around the bottom of that. So we have yet to see if we're going to respect that. This had a strong rejection. This had a strong rejection. This had a strong rejection. This one consolidated it turned back up. But don't forget, we are in a downtrend, and we just made a crazy uptrend. Um, I'm just curious what this looks like too. So that's kind of interesting. Like if you extend out from yesterday and then you incorporate this big up move, this is the bottom of that channel. I don't think it's always ideal to draw that out. Kind of depends. You just see what's going on. Same deal here. Okay. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Okay, we break straight through that tiny little zone there. So yeah, it kind of looks like we're going up. But I would be I'd be a little cautious. It's been like 30 minutes, so I'll draw the little 931 in here. Hopefully this isn't too confusing. But if you're looking at this one now, price came down, and this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm looking at. And I'm also going to try to be picky, okay? Um, Okay, let's also actually see if there's like a supply zone back, a demand zone. I mean, kind of, not really. It did like bounce off this level, 615, which was a zone. Kind of break this structure, come down, bounce up. So 615. So I'm just trying to see if like why did it bounce down here? Um, it's kind of now bouncing off of both these channels and like kind of turning upwards, definitely looking like a reversal. So what I'm thinking is when you see this take off, like you finally want to see it like kind of stop consolidating and make a decision, break out. We break these highs. Um, you do touch the top of that, and then you come straight back down to this zone that we drew, and you bounce out of there. And so I think that that's like pretty cool. That's making me long. Um, I didn't do it, but I just want to see like what would a 1-to-1 look like. Pretty much back up to like the point of control. So, but that you're also trying to break out of this channel um, in a downtrend and break through the bin line. So I think that's like kind of a risky trade, but like this looks like a pretty decent reversal, right? So let's just see what happens. Let's see if that goes up. A little bit of reaction at the midline, but that goes right to that takes a 1-to-1 if you're using the zone. Not quite. Let's see. There you go. So yeah, that's a good one. Um, it's still like a little risky because of the downtrend. But I'm also trying to think of the price action too. I feel like I've been focused on not so much on price action, but the price action here is pretty clear. Um, it's on both channels. Yeah, let's just say price action reversal because the clarity of the price action here is in how it like comes down low, comes down again, comes lower, comes up, new, higher low, breaks both of these, higher low. And that's where you're like, this right here is where you're like, okay, some could pop off, especially because we reversed off of the bottom of those channels, and that's what happens. Okay, let's keep it rolling, baby. You notice how like that's right where it bounces too. So I wonder, let's get the volume experts in here. There is a high node zone. Do you see how like this is what exactly what I'm talking about? Like it just bounces right off. It just wants to go where there's volume. And if there's no volume there, we might still continue upwards, but for the time being, and if you're on a small account, I'm gonna focus on trying to take small wins. If you're in a small account, like just take it where you see that ledge that we just drew out. That's exactly so like what I was doing before too was just having my target up here and then getting my shit rocked because it goes up to here and comes down. But enough about me. The other thing is, if you're 1-to-1 risk, I would also kind of be cautious that it's going to turn down at the midline. So if it's even better if you can target the midline and get in there with a 1-to-1, like say a candle wick down and then closed here. But that's like, you know, wishful thinking, as it were. So I'm agnostic as to whether that's going to continue up. And we're seeing it kind of break down here. Yeah. Like, just do not lose sight of this because it perfectly went up to that ledge and then came straight back down to the stop below the zone. So just be careful about that. And now with the failure of that uptrend, or like kind of a failure, is it a failure to reverse, or is it really just we have a channel, like we're gonna hit the bottom, we're gonna hit the top. So it's respecting the channel. But now I'm I'm just overall would be cautious about taking longs in general. And I'm just trying to see if there's like a short there. There's nothing super clean. But now we're bouncing off of we get a double bottom and a bounce off the 1801 channel. Still goes lower. Then look at where it turns again. It turns where there's this big gap in volume. I feel like that's like a recurring theme. Just seeing. Ideally, I would have multiple screens, but it'd be nice to like kind of see what does the channel look like? What does the volume profile and price action look like? What does one channel look like with price action? You know, just rambling. Do it. I have had a week, brother. Just tired in the mud. Just tired in the mud. Um, I did. So I drew out trades on Tuesday, and I did have candidly had a bad day on Tuesday. I had like one or two wins, and I probably drew out like 8 trades or something. So Wednesday I was cautious, kind of turned it around until the end there. But when you see that big jump from news, like you just get you have to. I feel like advanced traders will just like compartmentalize that and be like, okay, that was a news jump. Like, of course I missed out on it because you don't trade on news unless you're a psycho. It's not even like a FOMO thing. It's just like yeah, I feel like that would mess up a lot of new traders. And I didn't get caught up in it while it was happening. I left it alone. But afterwards, I feel like there was a little bit of kind of residual, you know, a little bit of residual, I don't know, stuff's happening. I want something to happen, you know. As for like, this is kind of a zone. I think ideally too, you'd be flipping back and forth between zones. Okay, so it broke below that, so forget that. Ideally back you'd be flipping kind of back and forth between zones too, between time frames, and seeing just like because we start out the day by drawing out higher time frame zones, right? But we break through them, and there's also probably smaller zone. There's definitely smaller zones we're between where we drew the really big ones. The really big one is down here. There's a really big one up here. What about in the middle? And here's one where you see a little bounce. You see bottom of the bottom of the 930, and I think there's also like a volume ledge that formed. It really just wicked below that, came straight back up. I might be inclined to take a super small, just based on the channel because it's been respecting the channel pretty good. I don't want to risk this much. But I think it could kind of come up to volume here and also maybe retest the bottom of the 1801. So I've also gotten burned like this too, I will admit. Like using the candle instead of the zone, and then the zone worked out if you had your stop at the zone. But jeez, look at that. Yeah, I mean, destroyed. So I think that's just like, hey dude, it can always go lower. Um, so I think that zone maybe is not very strong. It breaks that zone. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's just like a catching the falling knife trade. Yeah, I was really like, oh, it's been just respecting the 930 channel, but uh, again, again, just like, yeah. Okay. So really, like, I just have that tendency to like try to look for longs at the bottom. I think I'm like overall a long, maybe we're all just like long bias, but I should really be like drawing in these zones like that. This, supply zones. And this looks like a bounce. Oh, the other thing is, if you are gonna catch a, this would have like kind of protected me too. If you're gonna catch a bottom, make sure it looks like this. This is something I watched this video yesterday, and like if you're gonna catch a bottom, make sure it looks like this. Make sure it actually looks like a reversal rather than like trying to catch the literal actual bottom point of the bottom tick. Um, so I'm saying that because if this comes up, it's having a little bit of conviction, comes down into this zone. I don't think I would take it long, but just like as an example, let's say this zone looked better. That's kind of a cop out, but you just want some more conviction, really. So look, that bar looks good, but does not work out. This seems like simple stuff. It's just like don't try to catch the falling knife. I think reversals are like more advanced and well, I was about to say they're more advanced than they think. I was about to say like maybe I'm not advanced enough for that, but like this is all it is. It's just a shift in the structure of the price action. It's just like this is a higher low. This is a move that broke through a couple of small highs. It came back, it put in a higher low at the zone, and that's it. It didn't go all the fuck way up because we're not in an uptrend, but if you're gonna take a little move, that's what you should take on. Not this, not just like a one candle, a 1 minute candle. Hmm. So I don't love this. I don't think I would take this, but this is kind of like you're getting big green bars, you're getting another low, higher low. Um, yeah, I feel like I would want to see it break. You see how it hasn't broken this high yet? I would want to see it break one of these highs. Let's just see. It keeps going lower. See, just leave it alone, dude. Let it be. But you're really not getting, like, it's a strong downtrend right now. You're not getting a lot of pullbacks. And this just might be a fucking day that I mean, we're going quick right now relative to real time, but like you're sitting here, it's 12:30, you haven't taken any trades. You might be getting itchy, honestly, but you just got to sit in your hands and be like, this just might be a runaway downtrend that I didn't catch. Yeah. Here you get another one. Uh, Zone. I would be careful because like you've gone so far down, you've broken out of this green channel so far. Maybe it just keeps going down to the point of control. I would love to see it just come down here and bounce from yesterday. I don't know if it's gonna do that, but we're also yeah, like notice this. I almost forgot. We're also now in this area. Do you see where it's starting to run away? It's starting to run away in this area of just the thinnest volume from yesterday. Okay. So you pop in there, you break through that zone, so that's not really a good zone anymore. If I want to see it come back to something like maybe this, maybe something like this, that's a little bit of a and do those line up with volume? There is a volume node right here. It's not much, but there's more volume up here, you know. So breaks through that. Okay, so now you're getting the reaction that you want. Let's see what volume looks like up to this little. So it's like a doji and then like a kind of a wick situation. What is it bouncing off of? Oh my God, would you look at that? It's bouncing off of like right where this volume shelf is, okay? In this big fat downtrend, it hasn't touched the top in a while because it's just been running away and pushing the bottom of this 930 channel lower. So I'm like, I feel like I'm okay with it not touching the top of this channel. Ooh, the moon looks cool today. So let's try a little short here. I know you might get in at the smaller one, which would be ideal. And where do you want to target there? You kind of target. What does this look like? That's your 1-to-1. I feel like it could come down here for sure, but let's be conservative and let's draw this out as like a just see if it makes it down there. Well, let's see if we get stopped out. Wow. Okay. That sucks. And why not? Why not here? Why not short here? I th I would think like because you are running out of volume. Um, you did make a pretty strong move up. You're running out of volume down here. You made a pretty strong move up. You haven't tested the bottom of the 1801 or this top, like I said. But I also said that it doesn't need to anymore, but it wants to. So that's up to the market. Okay, so there's another L for you. That sucks. Still seeing like those big wicks on the bottom when it moves down. That's just taking off. So yeah, I think I'm getting like short sighted. Like I was like, Oh, big move up. That's just an opportunity to go short, and sometimes it is. I think the trouble is sometimes like how do you decide when it's how do you decide what's what? And it only I had seen like there was a little bit of a volume show when we got in right here, but I was like, nah, that's too close. That's too close to take that. But guess what? That's where the market fucking decided to take it. And the thing about like changing your risk to accommodate that is that like the market's not going to change where it goes because you're like, okay, I'm okay with taking less if you just want to come down to my target. Like if you want to hit my target first, like you can't negotiate with the market like that. So that's why I'm kind of like, okay, maybe it'll hit there first, but who gives a shit? But maybe we got to change the way you think about that. So definitely a reversal. Um, Coming back into this area, kind of like refinding the bottom of this. Jesus. Finding the bottom of this 1801 green channel again as like support. Maybe we'll bounce out of there. Put this back. There's your little zone, and that is supported by volume. So I like that zone. I like that it's bouncing off of here. I like that it broke this high and it broke this high on the way up. Um, so let's see what happens next. Yeah, not good. But it's good you wait for a candle on that to make sense. Where did it come up to, by the way? It kind of hit the top of the green almost. Not a strong price action supply. Yeah, supply zone. But another volume gap that it just didn't want to get through. Here. It just said, no, I'm not going up there. I ain't going. So yeah, now you can basically just look at that as like a breakout of the, and it went up to POC. Nope, value area low. So that means we're still interested in discovering more price here. We'll see if this makes a low. If it does, this is like kind of a volume backed demand zone. But you're gonna have to go through this also kind of volume gap here. So let's see. Wait. Okay, so high volume node. Don't forget we're still in a big fat downtrend. So like I feel like we could get burned on this. But we had a really strong rejection of this high volume node. So I say take it. I say take it. I'm gonna give myself a free pass on this one. Take it down there. What the heck? And your 1-to-1 is still below the bottom of the green line. There's a node up here, so it's like this is all kind of like the same thing. This volume, so it's like, do you want to get greedy and take it up there? I think let's take it down here at a 1-to-1 and see if it goes up to like this area. 228. it goes right up to 228. So yeah, you can take it to that volume. And why did we say this? Um, so this is kind of like a higher time frame reversal. Yeah, let me know what I'm missing. You're kind of bouncing off the bottom of the midline there. This feels like the one. Struggling to get through that. Back into value area high. Value area low, sorry. Dang, but there's really a lot of conviction behind this move. Just still bouncing off the midline. And I'm wondering also if there's like a short here. Like with the strength of this move, it looks like there could be a short, but it also looks like it wants to try breaking that. But now we're getting a little more downside conviction, and then yeah, this breaks your highs, breaks above that. So yeah, be cautious about shorting. I feel like I'm yeah, again, still that like nearsightedness. I'm like, I need to stop. I feel like my bias is like lagging. So like I'm with the bias, but then by the time I put in a trade, it's reversing. So and that's because I'm like not looking at what if I'm looking for a long or I'm in a long, I'm not looking for where I can short. So I think I need to be looking at both sides of the field. I need to be looking at the bigger picture. So like what's the bigger picture on this long here? Just a crazy downtrend, really. It's like, is that strong enough to stop it? Apparently not. Um, what's the bigger picture on this short? We just had a crazy big up move. We haven't really put in a lot of lows yet. That's the thing about this one. Um, like you could see it bounce, like potentially coming back up and then bouncing off the bottom of that 1801. But that didn't work. It was just too much strength behind that move. Then when we come down here, of course, that's like, okay, we have this hard volume node. We don't have volume below it for the day. And if with this move smashing through all these highs, like you could expect us to come down, make a higher low, and do the next high, which it did. But right up to VWAP. So yeah, I think you're what did I say before? That you could come up to this volume node. That could be like your second more ambitious target. This could be VWAP could just be like your most ambitious target. Damn, 500. That's crazy is that? on MNQ on micro, if you have a micro winner, that's fucking 1,000 points. $1,000 still, which is nuts, right? 500 micros, $2 a point. Yeah, yeah. I mean, how crazy is that? You can make 1,000 on micros, just on micros, from this entry that we drew out. Okay, coming back down to this beat, and now the question is like, we're getting later in the day. Does Price want to try to break through this bitch? Does it want to try to break through VWAP or not? Apart from bouncing off VWAP, it's like kind of a shelf, but there's still volume up here. Like there's still nose up here. There's still POC above. So maybe we want to flip that bitch. I'm not crazy about this area, this zone actually, because I mean, while there is kind of like a, it's not really a great shelf because this isn't like it's not super low volume, and value area low is down here with more volume. So maybe let's draw this one in just to be like, hey, we have another zone down here. Don't forget. Uh, yeah, good call on that. This one pops like wicks straight off that one. But we're also like, I think it could go down to value area and then bounce up based on the volume profile. I think that's a really nice candle, but also just based on volume. Obviously, we saw this candle, but like this candle doesn't look great. Uh, and you're kind of in no man's land in terms of the channels. But look at that. It bounces right there. Jesus. Straight to the top. So that would have worked. Like I might put my stop below. If you are going to get in there, put your stop there. And the 1-to-1 actually lines up perfectly with like kind of the edge of that volume gap. But I would be worried about us stopping right here. Okay. At the moment, I'm not going to draw that. But this is just like price action, crushing, structure. Break above your VWAP. Oh, wow. Would you look at that? Wow. There's a ton of volume that formed here. That is right at the like the top of the thing. Okay, here's the deal. It's popping right off the top of the 1801, which is still on a downtrend. Popping off of this thing, which we drew out, which has crazy volume behind it. So I think you could take a short here, very small, like very scalping. And it's already played out, obviously. But I think like you would do something like this. Just to the low, like you actually take a 1-to-1 on that. Okay. I thought the risk was a little chunky, but you could take a 1-to-1 on that. Yeah, and this is where you maybe don't leave a runner. Broke higher. And there's like just a fucking beautiful triple bottom. And there's just like kind of a volume gap here, so triple bottoming at a volume gap. This is turning into like a little bit of a range though, like a little bit of a ping pong. So I think you could take it at least to, I'm gonna say like at least to, let's just use the POC. Nope, you just get crushed right away. Damn, I am not doing well today. Okay, so looking like a reversal at VWAP. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. You don't have to get in at every turn. Like just wait for it to line up. Like I really liked this, but it's also not getting any. Like maybe if it was a higher low, I don't know. And then it goes up there. Yeah. So now we're at 3 o'clock. Try to wrap this up. But yeah, this looks like it's continuing. What's here? Yeah, this is kind of like, I don't know. You can kind of draw this out. It's like the edge of a volume gap from over here. Bounces off of there a little bit. Keeps going down. And this is like the opposite of what we saw earlier this week and last week. Is it's holding this line, and instead of the highs, instead of the lows getting closer and higher, they're getting lower. So this is like thinking like maybe this line will hold because it keeps pushing it down. Broke through that. See if it breaks this low. It does, right? Yeah, just barely. Consolidation. Does it want to zoom up there? You hit VWAP. You hit this thing. Is this backed by volume? Kind of. I mean, kind of. So not great. Not a great candle. Maybe you can take a little short out of that. I don't know. Fuck it. Bad R. But maybe it goes down there. Let's just see. It does. Wow. That wasn't even, I don't know. Just lower low at VWAP, like a little bit of a supply zone. Okay. Volume. And I was thinking short here too, also just because generally, like, you're not breaking this level and you are putting in lower lows every time it goes up there. So maybe we're going to do it again, you know? A little bounce off the midline. It's just funny how there are reactions. Like, they're not always good ones, but there just are, in fact, reactions. And you could hold that. That's where you can have a runner. That's what a short reversal looks like. You know? Ooh. There's like a volume thing here, so like I'm inclined to think this could be a little bit of a zone. But is there more volume up here apart from the obvious POC? Yeah, it's like why would I don't know if we would reverse here instead of reversing up here. Is this? It's not super volume backed, but neither was this one. And it's also at VWAP again. So, but I don't really like the price action here. It's a little consolidating. Oh yeah, we're past 4 o'clock now too. So yeah, interesting day. Not great in terms of what we played on that, but like, could we have avoided a couple of these? Shorting here and longing here. Yeah, I don't know. Not bad, not great. All right.